Let's talk next to Samuel Ramani, the CEO of Pangea Geopolitical Risk, a risk analysis company based in the UK. Samuel, welcome back. Good to see you. First of all, your reaction on this walkout at the United Nations.
Well, it wasn't that surprising that there would be a walkout because Netanyahu was drawing upon a lot of the more incendiary subjects, including the threat of a Palestinian state. The overwhelming majority of countries in the UNGA, including American allies like Britain and Canada, support Palestinian self-determination. And also his cheerleading of the Israeli attacks on Iran were strongly opposed by many countries in the global south. So it was inevitable.
Let's talk about Donald Trump and his peace plan for Gaza. What's your take on what we know so far?
Well, I mean, it seems to be like a pretty Trump-style grand bargain over here. They're basically trying to lead to a phased withdrawal of Israel from Gaza, and on the pretext that that's going to lead to, number one, Hamas releasing the hostages and accepting peace, and number two, there being some kind of a pathway for a post-Hamas Gaza where the Palestinian Authority dominates and money, particularly from the Gulf countries, comes in to rebuild and reconstruct. But obviously, there are a lot of moving parts here. Hamas may decide that if it's going to be expelled from politics entirely and they despise the Palestinian Authority, to resist and to double down. There's also a lot of ambiguities about how exactly the transition from Israeli occupation to Palestinian self-rule will take place. And when it comes to reconstruction funding, buy-in from the Arab countries is good, but we've seen a long pattern of ceasefires break down even when there's been development assistance, like in 2021 and in 2014.
Last year, Netanyahu, in a previous UNGA speech, tore into Israel's critics and the United Nations itself, come to that, which he referred to as a swamp of anti-Semitic bile. What do you make of his latest statements?
Well, Netanyahu has always been at odds to the United Nations, and that's not really that much of a surprise. That's especially intensified since the war in Gaza began in 2023. We've seen the Israelis blame UNRWA, the UN Refugee Agency, for basically being a front for Hamas, and a lot of their teachers being tied to Hamas-linked schools and things like this. So Israeli rhetoric has actually framed the UN as part of the problem and as part of the aggression from Hamas against Israel. So it's not so surprising that he would be attacking the United Nations and also attacking implicitly the opinions of the world majority, which seems to be firmly on Palestine's side and against him.
The former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair is reported to be seeking to play a role of some sort in establishing a post-war Gaza government in this transitional phase after the fighting stops. Is that a good idea?
Well, Tony Blair has been long involved in Middle East peace, and he was an envoy before, but he has a controversial reputation in that role. A lot of people said that he was quite ineffective in it, and even though Donald Trump seems to be leaning on him for some kinds of expertise, his vision has historically been quite different from what Trump has argued. For example, when you look at the reports from the Tony Blair Institute, they often talk about the need to avoid displacement of Palestinians, whereas Trump has favored a Gaza Riviera approach, which would probably lead to large numbers of Palestinians being displaced. Moreover, it's unclear, again, whether investment, even from the Gulf, however effective it might be, will actually lead to stability and peace. He may be very good at being able to bring in donors from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, other places, but how much will that lead to long-term stability? So, number one, he has a mixed track record. Number two, he's got disagreements with Trump. And number three, this kind of money reconstruction-centric approach is only going to go so far if governance follows suit in terms of reform.
Samuel, good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on the programme. Samuel Ramani.